Good morning. We start the fourth roundtable. In fact, it's the last roundtable from this morning. And the table is that the Arthritis Patient Task Force. I have the pleasure to moderate this table. There are three speakers. Mrs. Hyde, that she's the Vice President of Advocacy and Access, from the Arthritis Foundation. That has a lot of experience, working with the FDA. And it was also, she was presented before the table before. Later will be Mrs. Claude Jandard. That is the person that the Association Française de Lutte Antirheumatical, AFLAR, and also Mr. Andrea Tomasini, Associate National Person on Malattie, Reumatologique, APMARR. Later, I can speak a little bit.
No problem.
For your CV. I can make an introduction. Maybe I can. Introduction. About the Arthritic Patients Task Force, no? Well, 5 years ago, when we just started to create OAFI, I have a good fly going to United States. I go to Atlanta, and I speak with the president of Arthritis Foundation and APMARR, saying that it would be very interesting to work together, no? To work together. And APMARR, that she's the president of the Arthritis Foundation, that is a person that stays with us each year. This year, for personal reasons, was not possible, but we have Anna as a good representative and the vice president. And we create the Arthritic Patient Task Force, no? And in fact, it's an alliance between the most important associations of patients with rheumatic problems in order to work together globally with a focus in osteoarthritis, no? And we are the only one. And we represent more or less 150 million of people worldwide. We have, as we mentioned, from the Lancet, that there are 500 million of people in the world in osteoarthritis. More or less, we represent 150, no? And with Arthritis Foundation, and other associations, APMARR, this Pan-American League Against Rheumatism, there are 22 countries. That means all the continental America. Also, the Liga Portuguesa of Rheumatology, the AFLAR, the Italian, the Foundation from Belgium, the Roma Netherlands from Holland, and also the Italian and the Portuguese. And now we are discussing, because soon will be the Australian, New Zealand, Canadian, etc., that be also members of this alliance, no? Well, we made some publications in these years. This is one of the publications. It's a systemic review of the literature to provide an international resource available studies, no? We have reported individual factors affecting quality of life in patients with NOA, no? This is the paper, what we published in the BMC musculoskeletal disorders. And also we make a survey in 7 countries to see if there are differences, the patients with OA. Maybe the Spanish patients from OA are different from French, or different from Venezuela, or different from United States. And we make this survey with seven countries. And, we published the data in this journal, in BMC musculoskeletal disorders, and we see very interesting issues about the quality of life of the patients in general. No? We see things that even we are patients, we don't know. I mean, there's very interesting issues for the comorbidities, insomnia, and issues that normally, depression, anxiety, that sometimes, is not taking care. Normally, the patients that with OA do have pain and problems of the mobility, but there are other issues, no? And we see, for example, there are insomnia, there are comorbidities like hypertension, like comorbidities like cardiovascular problems, and others, no? I think this is very important to know this data. This is work that must be done in the last years with the Arthritis Task Force, no? Now, what are we doing? We try to do 1 day, International Day for Osteoarthritis, because yesterday it was the the worldwide day from rheumatic diseases. The problem that we have is that they don't take more attention to OA, and that's the reason that we are now making one day from OA. And we are speaking with WHO, about to put a day from osteoarthritis, no? Okay, I think in order to have more knowledge and to know, and the people could understand the problem that we have in OA. And also, one important issue, for example, is that these associations works together and support to us, for example, one problem that we have in Spain, that it was the Minister of Health, they will try to not reimburse one treatments that we think that are positive for patients, no? And all the patient society, they support to us, and it was so good in order that these treatments continue to be reimbursed by health authorities in Spain. And this is one issue that we achieved the patients, no? Thanks for to be union, thanks to be together. I think it's a very important issue. And what we are doing now, I think this is that important issue, no? And in fact, this morning we spoke, no, about that. What is the future, the near future from the Arthritis Task Force? First, support health authorities about osteoarthritis, like we mentioned before, the European Agency of Drugs, Spanish, Italian, or whatever, FDA. This is one thing that we can support to them for all issues that they needed. I think it's very important, and we are doing. Support clinical trials necessary. I think it's very important for us that the patients should know what are the clinical trials are coming. I think it's very important to participate in the clinical trials, and we are making a lot of work in this direction. Another is that maybe make surveys, or maybe focus group, or maybe review articles, no, about our needs, what we need, and this is a very important issue, no, to make these publications, no, in order to extend this information. Support medical and scientific societies, that's very important, and now they are changing. That means that patients, we can play a very important role, and we can inform to other patients, and this should be fantastic for patients and improve the quality of life of us. Another information for other associations that could be held, no? That means a little bit is my introduction in order that what we did before and what we are doing now. I think this is a very important issue, and I think this is a very successful, and in the next month we will see a lot of things that now I just spoke, no? I would like to introduce to Hyde, as I mentioned, Vice President, of Advocacy and Access in Arthritis Foundation, and a little bit, the dynamics should be the same. 10 minutes for each speaker, and later when we finish will be a discussion and questions, okay? And thank you very much. I appreciate that you stay here with us, and also thank you because you get up early, this morning, no, to be with us. Because there are 6 hours less, no, I can imagine, no? That means that you get up early, and I will appreciate and thank you to be with us. I really appreciate, and you know very well that the good relation that we have between Arthritis Foundation and OAFI for years, and it's a great pleasure that you stay with us. And when you want, you can go ahead. Thank you.
Again, thanks for having me. The good news is I'm a morning person, so it's okay. I also have my coffee, and the sun is just starting to come up here. So I am just going to spend a few minutes. I only have a handful of slides, just talking a little bit about the Arthritis Foundation's just mission and what we do around people with arthritis and a specific focus on osteoarthritis. So just this is our mission. I took this directly from our website, that our goal continues to be and has always been pursuing a cure for what we say America, but not just America's #1 cause of disability. And we do this in a number of ways that I'll talk about in a few minutes. But our sort of kind of updated mission statement, the way we talk about our program of work is, we exist to conquer arthritis. You hear that a lot anytime the Arthritis Foundation is out and about talking to patients and others. So research is a big part of this. Advocacy, which is the program of work that I lead, is a big part of that. And then disease management support is crucial because of the fact that, as we we all know, there is no disease-modifying drug for osteoarthritis. So just a little bit more specifically, what we do, the resources and services that we offer, and some of this is new over the last year or two, but of course, education and trusted information, we want that to always be sort of front and center. We are the place to go for people who are looking for connection and for information about their disease, and particularly right now when we live in this age of misinformation and different types of information out there everywhere. And the pandemic has really highlighted the challenges around that. It's important for patients to know that there is this trusted place that they can go for information. So we take that very seriously. We do a lot of support group type of work and online forums. We know that peer-to-peer connection is so important and valuable to patients. And so we try to foster that in as many different ways as we can. Social media is another place that, that there are lots of Facebook groups for people with different forms of arthritis. They can connect with each other and ask questions and get sort of, tactical support from each other. We do a lot of topic-specific webinars, bringing together experts and patients. And we have found a really successful formula over the last couple of years in particular, doing big webinars on specific issues. We did a whole series around pain, for example. We've done several around the relationship between COVID and arthritis and the vaccine, of course. But what we do is we invite patients to submit questions beforehand so that they feel more sort of integrated in the event, and then the event itself can be responsive to the types of questions and topics that they've requested, which we found to be pretty successful. Going back to the disease management for a minute, we know evidence-based programs are really important, and the Arthritis Foundation has been integral in creating some of these and now just disseminating them and making sure people have access to them. Walk with Ease is one of these programs, and we work closely with the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention on, making sure that people have access to these evidence-based programs. And then pain management support is an area that we are particularly focused on right now, because we launched a couple of years ago a patient-reported outcome assessment that collects data and is ongoing. We have over 40,000 responses to date and growing. It collects patient-reported information on mental health, physical health, and then experience of care. And we've published 2 reports, including one just a few months ago, based on the data. And what we have found is that pain is the most pervasive and difficult symptom that patients report in. And the pain levels are high, the disruption in daily life is severe. And so what we have done is taken that information and allowed it to sort of guide our program of work and our essentially our 3-year strategic plan for the next few years. We have an entire pain initiative and just launched in May, June of this year, an app that we're calling VIM, and it is specifically designed to help connect patients with each other, to make goals around how to manage their pain. And maybe it's just, I want to walk to the mailbox without, being in severe pain, or whatever it may be. And it allows them to connect with each other, to get support for achieving their goals. We are working on aggressively advertising the app and hoping to get more patients on it and making updates as we go. So that is something that's ongoing as we speak. And I certainly invite everyone to go to our website and find out more. And then the advocacy program, like I said, that I lead. So, our goal being that once we do have drugs on market for whatever form of arthritis, that people can access them. So our objectives, I don't need to go into this too much, but it's a lot about empowering people to live better, higher quality of life and less pain. That sort of encapsulates everything. And our sort of network, the 2 kind of core areas that we're focused on right now that you would hear a lot about if you talk to anyone at the Arthritis Foundation are cures and care is kind of how we talk about it. But the cures obviously being scientific initiatives and also workforce, scientific workforce, clinical workforce, and then quality of life. So continuity of care, meaning that you can access the healthcare that you need without disruption or with minimal disruption. And then our pain initiative, which I've already talked a little bit about. So this is, I believe it might be my last slide, and I can just kind of talk through it more as we go, but just wanted to kind of isolate a little bit on our science side for just a minute. Osteoarthritis has become an increasing focus. I mean, it has been a focus for many years, but in the last couple of years in particular, we've invested about $12 million since 2019 in grants, specific research grants to various institutions across the country, really with a focus on post-traumatic osteoarthritis has been a big focus. And how do we get from basic research through translational, clinical, and then getting drugs to market? And then, of course, making sure that there is access and reimbursement for those drugs. So it's the entire continuum that we're focused on. And we launched this program that we're calling OAKS. It's Osteoarthritis Clinical Science Program. Some of you may have been involved or attended some of the meetings, but over the past couple of years, we've held several events bringing together experts in the field, academics, patients, and others with real specific sort of focal points in each one. So we have one coming up. This is just kind of a screenshot of our webpage that sort of advertises the events that are coming up. So focusing on ankle and feet, for example, as a focus point in December, we're going to be doing that. And so this forum series has been really popular. We're going to continue doing it. And it just is sort of a complement to the other work we're doing in osteoarthritis. Like I mentioned, the grant program that we're funding research that will continue to be a major focus of the Arthritis Foundation. Clinical trials and trying to connect patients with clinical trials. So we have a whole clinical trial finder on our website that we also launched just a few years ago. And we're working on just updating our website and resources to make them even more patient-friendly and user-friendly. So I believe with that, I will stop and then happy to dig in after the presentations are over if there are any questions.
And I appreciate, thank you very much. Later will be some questions, thank you. And well, I have the pleasure to present Mrs. Claude Jandard. She's a very good friend. Happy that you stay with us, no? In fact, we choose 3 from the members of the task force. It was the Arthritis Foundation. It was the AFLAR. Claude, she's a teacher of Grenoble University, and she was working in and also in the English American Studies in the History Department for 25 years. And I was a patient at the hospital in Grenoble in Rheumatology. He met Dr. Laurent Grange, who is the president of the AFLAR. Yes. And he was enrolled for years, no? That means that she's working for years in AFLAR. And well, I attend our meetings, no, and conference, and and we are very happy that she's here. He become a liaison officer for OAFI Congress, and before the COVID, and well, when you want, you can start it.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Vergés. I came 2 years ago, and I enjoyed your congress very much, and I'm glad to be back and invited. Okay, I'm from Grenoble, and the president of AFLAR is also from Grenoble, and the Ministry of Health, the new one, is also from Grenoble. So we have great hopes for the future, but, permitting after COVID. Anyway, the president is a rheumatologist, and the vice president is a physical therapist and a fundraiser. And I'm the liaison officer because I can speak English. And I regret the days of Voltaire when French was the language of Europe. Yes, and so we are affiliated with a great number of associations. We deal with osteoporosis, OA, SAPHO. We just joined a club with SAPHO. We have members, and we also get links with all sorts of associations. We fight a lot for the reimbursement of medicine, and this is one common point with Dr. Vergés, is that chondro-self medicine is not reimbursed by the French National Health Service. You know that so far the National Health Service was one of the best in Europe, but it's going bankrupt. So they stop the reimbursement of many medicine. So this is a common fight, as you told me. Yes.
I think, because there are new data that we can...
Yeah, okay. And so the AFLAR history, I have heard a lot of things that I'm going to say again, so I'll make it short. The AFLAR history, you press for me now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I will press.
Okay. It is the oldest association in 1928, and it's quite large now. And we have the same aims as all these associations, like raising general awareness, trying to get a better prevention. We also work with pharmaceutical industries. And at the moment, we have a program with pharmacists because they very often counsel the clients. So we think that they should be together with us. And we talk a lot about the how to improve the life of patients with dieting, with physical activity. And our vice president is in Paris. We have an office in Paris. And she has a lot of roundtables and meetings and all sorts of activities which were slowed down, of course, with COVID. We have a lot of publications. If you ever go to Paris, Rue Bourgon, you will see our small office, but we have a lot of publications about all sorts of rheumatic diseases. Now I will talk to you about the survey that we had in 2013 and 2021. We just finished it in January. So rapidly, in 2013, we launched a survey, and in 2019, together with the Belgian Association of Professor Androtin. But we had 3,400 replies, and the Belgians had 600. So we are very proud of working on our online results. And so in 2013, just to compare rapidly, we had 9% out of 10 showed they needed to relieve their pains. 4 out of 5 asked for more data on the disease. 7 out of 10 wanted more medical follow-up. 2 out of 3 talked about mobility disorders. And so AFLAR organized a panel on osteoarthritis to concentrate on 3 lines. First, the acknowledgement of the disease. Second, the improvement of treatments. Third, a development of financial and medical means. Now, these results were obtained mostly online. And so they show, among other things, that between 9 and 10 million of French people suffer from osteoarthritis. It's the first cause of invalidity among the 40-plus people, mostly women, and dieting and weight consciousness are not taken seriously. And alas, there is no special policy devoted to this physical activity. So I noticed the same thing with your other talks. The diagnosis, there is a lot of confusion among the various forms of rheumatic pains. X-rays and PET scans are not yet enough to diagnose OA. If I can make a little parenthesis, I was diagnosed after 10 and 15 years. They told me I had spasmophilia, it was in the head. They told me I had fibromyalgia, it was in the head. You know, I'm a PhD and I've never taken a sick leave in my life. And they found out when I was paralyzed that I had polymyositis. polymyositis, which is a form of rheumatism. So I took cortisone, then I took methotrexate, and I'm feeling fine. I have a lumbago, but that's another story. So you see, the problem of diagnosis is very, very important. And now people just know about arthrose, as we call it, osteoarthritis. So there's a problem with diagnosis. There is a lack of interest for pharmaceutical therapy. There's a lack of interest for physical activity. Personally, I lived the COVID as a couch potato, and the results are visible. So I have to change very fast. And the problem with patients is that when surgery is proposed, they are at a loss. And especially with COVID, now we are very, very slow about surgery. People are on the waiting list everywhere. We had a red alert. We nearly didn't have enough beds in Grenoble, so all the surgery has been postponed. And then there is also a danger, is that they turn to alternative medicine. And I tried some are quite crazy, some are interesting, dieting, take these plants, this and that, but this is a danger. So I go on, is that people with OA very often have mood problems, depression, and in France, you can take sick leaves very easily. The National Health Service pays your employer, and many sick leaves are due to OA. So finally, in 2021, there was an international osteoarthritis patient task force. And it's a link among various patients' organizations at world level, because it is the first cause of invalidating pains. Now, 500 million people, as you said before, suffer from OA, and in France, as I said, around 10 million. So far, 17% of the population, they expect in 2030, 22% of the population to have OA. It affects the mobility of patients. It affects their mental and physical health. One big problem is comorbidity, particularly with diabetes, kidney disease, or heart disease? Okay. OA is more present in women. It represents 1 to 5%, the cost of OA represents 1 to 5% of our national revenue, PIB. And it costs 3.5 billion euros. This alliance of International Osteoarthritis Patient Task Force includes several associations in Belgium and all around our area, and Italy, Associazione Nazionale Italia, and Portuguese, Belgium, and Netherlands. And it was decided to have a national day, which will be, from now on, September the 17th. It will be called the National Day for Osteoarthritis. Local initiatives will be encouraged, and patients will be represented in international medical society. 2 years ago, just before COVID, I was sent by our association to Brussels because The Economist, the newspaper The Economist, had a seminar on patient centricity. It was very interesting. I discovered that suddenly the medical world put the patient in the center as a way to get better. And this was very interesting to me because, I have suffered a lot from being told, see a shrink, when I couldn't move and I didn't know why, and I was sporty. I used to ski and everything, and they told me to see a shrink. And I had polymyositis, I know. I had 3,000 CPK in my blood, everybody came to see me at the hospital, I was a case. It's very rare, okay. Anyway, we have a lot of projects and that we hope to share with you. And what I want to say, because the time is going, is that we look forward to cooperation with OAFI, and as soon as COVID gives us a bit of time.
Well, thank you very much, Claude. No, thank you. And also, with timing, I mean, perfect, 10 minutes, that's perfect. Later will be questions, and thank you for your presentation. And I have the pleasure to present Andrea Tomasini from APMARR. He's involved in medical and scientific communications for 1980. He was work a lot in scientific committees and Meditech, scientific communication also in Catholic University, okay? And he was working in the Eyes Society Association. That could be a very important experience, I can imagine, no? And near working and collaborating and as a narrative medicine and collaborating with APMARR, no? Since 2006, okay? And it's a pleasure that you stay here, also representative from the Association of Patients from Italy. And when you want, you can start it, and thank you very much.
I'll try to I'm the last, so I try to be fast in my presentation. I start to the story of P. We were founded in 1984 as a patient organization. We thought about this P that is not as patient for us now. It's a P of person, because the experience of the disease is part, but not all our life. People living with a chronic condition can make a different point of view about the experience he is living together with the disease and the care and the drugs and the relationship. We adopt a paradigm that is called biopsychosocial, written by Engel in a very famous article on Science in 1977, that changed the perspective and tried to make a link between science, society, the perception of our body. The body is the way we learn the world. We have a magazine that is called Morphologia, because the discourse on morphe, on the form, is the best way to know the things of the world. Our mission is to improve the quality of care in order to improve the quality of life. As an association of people living with a chronic disease, we make a classical activity of advocacy about chronicity, equity, access of drugs and care. We have, for many aspects, 21 health systems in Italy because of the devolution, without any very good direction from the center, and the COVID experience demonstrated very well how it was different living in the north or in the south in terms of survive during the epidemic. We try to offer services to the person, but also we try to train our patients in order to make them aware about the body and the experience of being ill. For instance, we started in 2006 with a project of narrative-based medicine, because we understood that when you make a survey or you make or use a system like patient-reported outcomes in clinical trials, you have a dimension of a photo. But we need a film. We need a sequence of event. Also because the experience of the patient is different if he is at the beginning of his story or if he is a patient with a strong career. It's different in the relationship with the drugs, with the system of care, with the relationship with the medical doctor. We have a fully dedicated press office, a fully dedicated lobbyist in order to represent to the authorities our needs and to make pressure about access to drugs. The point of view is a concept for us very important. We are now launching a set of booklets regarding the daily life of people with rheumatic disease. We try to understand in the daily life all the aspects that a person have to manage daily from his point of view. The same aspect we ask to a clinician or to professionals to describe in terms of evidence, in terms of science. And we try to retranslate this aspect with a point of view of a person living with this condition. We are partner of FESCA, Federation of European Sclerodermia Association, member of part of Agora, Eurodis, the ENCA, European Network for Children with Arthritis. In Italy, we have a strong and well-established collaboration with the GISEA, Italian group for the study of early arthritis, because diagnosis is crucial, obviously, because there is a window of opportunity in order to have the best you can from your treatments. We are a member of the Italian Register of Arthroplasty at the National Institute of Health, and we collaborate with the National Center of Rare Disease at the National Institute of Health. I want to share you our last project that is completely devoted to the aspect of pain, but pain in women. We know that there is a difference in the perception and the narrative, and also the description of pain between men and women. And we use, once again, the narrative medicine in order to listen and interpret the narratives of pain and offer this interpretation and these studies, that is an anthropological approach to the narratives, obviously, to authorities and clinicians in order to establish the best practice that could address the real needs in the real life of women living with pain. And as association, we want to put in the agenda not only pain, but also suffering. That is an answer of wellness. It's an answer to understand what means living with a disease. I think that medical doctors or the healthcare system had to address and take into account, listen, the aspect of suffering. This is my last slide. I want to show you, if it's possible. 2 days ago, we were in the parliament in Italy celebrating the World Arthritis Day, and we arranged a seminar of 5 hours inviting the people from the parliament, obviously, medical doctors, association, and we try to present the results, the state of the art, what means living with the chronic condition, like a rheumatic condition, in a period of COVID. We presented data in new research that are going to be published in Index magazine. But we have also presented a video that try to make awareness in lay people about rheumatic disease. And if it's possible, we can see together the video. Thank you. this video will be spread in the airport, railway station, undergrounds, and magazine for this week. And all of this was made with voluntary support of the authors, Marini, that is an art director. The music is original for the video, and also the public structure that were able to offer this space for us. Thank you.
Okay then. Andrea, thank you the same, for your presentation, very elegant, and like Claude, and like Anna. And I think it's a very interesting issue, no? And also on time. I mean, we have, normally patients, we spoke more, but today we finish on time. I mean, we are doing very well. Questions? Ali?
Thank you all so much. Quick comment for Anna. Thank you for the Oaks series. It's been brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I felt that it's allowed everybody to participate. Ironically, that's what the pandemic has done. The Oaks series has been extremely successful. I felt that the snow meetings were exclusive and not everybody could participate, but the Oaks series has kind of made it open. So I think in terms of engagement, you've done extremely well. Congratulations. Thank you for your story, Ms. Jandard. And of course, I think all of us recognize that there is an overlap between osteoarthritis and fibromyalgia. And that is under-researched. We need to research that more. And I think the final comment I'd like to make is about patient involvement. We need to get more patient involvement because we can improve our hypothesis.
Exactly.
If I can get patients to improve my hypothesis, I think I can do better research and publish better papers. I think it's as simple as that. Thank you.
Ali, I completely agree with you. Completely agree. Good comments. Some answer to Ali? Would you like some answer? Sure.
Fibromyalgia is a good chance because you can diagnose only listen to the patient and to accept the tale, the narrative. And you have to listen to a pain and a suffering that is not visible, not recordable, not measurable. I think it's a tool for us to reflect for many aspects. The story of advertising, for instance, of Lyrica in the United States, it's absolutely interesting. New York Times made a lot of noise about Lyrica. It's a long story, but if you want, take a look because it's really very, very interesting.
In fact, Ali, we have patients that have both disease, fibromyalgia and osteoarthritis. I mean, no, it's not. We have a lot of patients with this in the both disease together. No, I mean, and I think here it's very important in our experience. For example, in our experience in OAFI, they improve a lot with psychological issues. No, and it's very important the psychological aspects, the fibromyalgia, and also in OA. No, that means that the psychological support can improve both. You have experience. No, I don't know if there are other questions or between speakers, some questions. I have only maybe the last question if there are. Anne, you have some question or some comments, Anne, or that's fine? Okay, it's fine. We are working in the osteoarthritis task force, and what do you think the future will be? Very positive, no? Because we are a lot of activities, no? If you want make some comments, because for us, I think we need to have this association, and in fact, it's not difference between, in my opinion, people from the United States, even North America and Europe are more or less the same problems. Maybe other countries not the same, no? But what do you think a little bit? This question for each one. What do you think that we are doing in task force?
I think modern living, if people don't change, they will get more and more OA.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because of dieting, because of obesity, because of...
Yes, absolutely agree. To become elderly, the high-level competition from sport, that is another source of problems, no? Perfect.
I think we can improve the contact and sharing materials and activities.
Yes.
It's a sort of bulletin board or alert about initiative like sharing best practice or press releases about new studies or drugs that are coming also before the approval.
Andrea, I agree.
So sort
with
clinical
you.
trials review in order to make a coordinated effort on pharmaceutical companies in order to enroll, to make clinical trials, for instance, using patient-reported outcomes as a tool. We try in Italy now, next week we will have a meeting with a company trying to make, since the beginning of the development of this new drug, a narrative approach in order to understand the perception, the experience and the expectation of the patient. It's crucial also to manage side effects.
I agree.
When you start your career as a patient, you want drugs that works. When you are with a strong career already done, you are more focused on safety profile instead of efficacy.
Sure.
It's different. It's interesting to reflect about this.
I agree.
In the narratives, for instance, when you make an interview, a narrative interview with a patient with a strong story or experience, used to refer to the side effects as symptoms.
Yeah.
It's a cultural shift that must be taken into account.
I agree. And some comments?
I agree with what's been said about the issues around comorbidities. We found a lot in our data too. Mental health is a huge issue that goes alongside diabetes, hypertension, things like that. So I think more emphasis on the holistic needs of the patient, but also there are so many people with osteoarthritis who just assume that it's something they have to live with.
Yeah.
You know, their mom had it, their grandma had it, and didn't have any treatment options, and therefore they think it's inevitable and they just have to deal with it. They don't know that there are self-management programs that could help. And so trying to bridge that divide, I think, would be a really important focus while we are going down this path of trying to identify a disease-modifying drug.
I agree with you. It's only one comment is that in OAFI, we know very well, in OA, at least in Spain and maybe in other countries, that there are three types of patients with OA. 30% that are very active and they would like to more information, and tomorrow you will see the people and Friday that will know a lot about the disease, and they have more information and they're very active, and you know, and this kind of patients, they improve their quality of life. It's extraordinary. It's incredible, no? There is 30% that can follow in the active people, the empowering patients. They can follow in for them or not. And as you mentioned, and there is 30% that they say that, well, this is the disease, and this, you know, I received the disease, I cannot do nothing, no? And that's one of the things that we must think about, this 30% of patients, that they then perceive that this disease is, they cannot change, you know, and they are passive, no, you can say. That means this is one of the challenge that we must do it, no, to try to convince the 30% that are in the middle, that following the 30% that are very active, that they would like to be informed and they would like to change the disease, and also to think in the 30% that are very passive patients. And I think this is one issue that we can discuss and we can improve. Okay, then, I think, you know, this roundtable is closed. I appreciate, you know, Anne, your expertise and your time, and sorry for the, you know, to get up so early. And the same, Claude, appreciate always, Claude. And Andrea, thank you very much. And the other associations that, of course, that there are 7, were not possible to put in the same table, you know, but, you know, it was the APMARR, the Holland Association, the Portuguese, the Belgium, they cannot stay with us because it's not possible to have all the people here. No, we need 2 hours and don't have. That means that, we finished the 4th round table, but please don't forget it, and the conclusions that will be done in 2 minutes. The conclusions will be done by Professor Xavier Carné, the conclusion of the meeting that are very important. In 2 minutes, we come back. Thank you very much.